Welcome to chapel. May the Lord be with you.
NHS this year. NHS is a National Honor Society, and it's an organization that recognizes students for their excellence in 4 areas: leadership, character, scholarship, and service. Now, I'll talk about the first pillar, scholarship, first. All NHS students are required to maintain a GPA of 3.7 throughout their tenure in the organization. So we have a sampling of the highest academic achievers at Grand Rapids Christian. We also help out in peer tutoring and do the Writing Center pro bono. So that's one of the things we do at Grand Rapids Christian. For the rest of the pillars, I'll turn it over to Sam.
All right, so the other pillars are leadership, service, and character. And along with scholarship, this year our goal is to correspond the 4 pillars with our goals. So for the first pillar, leadership, our goal this year as NHS is just to become confident leaders within NHS and throughout the whole school. We'd like to see more Christ-like leadership throughout the school, and Miriam's going to talk about service now.
Yeah, I'm Miriam Van Harn. I'm the secretary of our National Honor Society, and for service this year, I know a lot of our service comes from peer tutoring and the coffee shop and various school admissions events, but one other thing we're going to try to do is have various service projects around the school that involve more than just National Honor Society members. And we'll have more details about this as they're planned, but that'll be available for all the school to participate in. And if any teachers ever need help with anything, you can always contact our advisors or one of us, and we can get some NHS members to help you out.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm the treasurer of NHS. Our last pillar is character, and we see a lot in the school that there is a problem with inclusion. So one of our focuses this year is going to be working on inclusion, and we're going to plan some events and service projects to go along with that.
And to wrap things up, I'm Lauren May, and I'm Vice President of NHS. And we're going to ask every NHS member to stand up right now. So go ahead. So if you look around, I guess everyone's seated now, but those are the people that you can go to if you have any ideas for service projects or have any questions about the pillars and about NHS in general. So thank you, and have a good rest of chapel.
Today's verse is it's the last of 4 chapels that open the year. And in these 4 chapels, we've been looking at our theme verse for the year, Colossians 2, 6 and 7. It's a curious, you should read the first part of Colossians, maybe in your devotions tomorrow or something. It's a curious little passage. It's not clear if it starts the new section or it should be tagged to the first part of Colossians, chapter 1, and then the first 5 verses of chapter 2. I'm going to later make an argument that it kind of belongs with chapter 1, but you could debate me on that. I'm not completely clear on that yet. But the last part of the verse, if you remember back, we talked about the deputy's shield was the idea that Christ is Lord. In a sense, there's a new sheriff in town when Christ appears on the scene. There's a new set of rules, and they look an awful lot like the Sermon on the Mount. The second week was being rooted, and you see the remains of that tree in the box there. And then the third week was to be built up, which I missed because I was on jury duty. But you see the remains of the wall there that was built up, and the idea that we are built up. And I do think building is one of the best metaphors for the Christian life. And then we'd like to end with this 4th chapter to think about the last part of the verse on gratitude. And when we were thinking about this, we ran across a video about gratitude made by a monk. And we'd like to show it a minute. And we would like this to stand for prayers for the world. And then we will go from this to thinking about the verse more specifically in the message. But bear with me a minute and watch this video by this monk who said we needed to think about gratitude and thankfulness just a little bit more.
watch TV. It's just some shows that are pretend. And when you explore, you get more imagination than you already had. And when you get more imagination, it makes you want to go deeper in, so you can get more and see beautiful things. Like the path. If it's a path, it could lead you to a beach or something, and it could be beautiful.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now, and the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. We just think of the weather, and even of the weather we don't think of all the many nuances of weather. We just think of good weather and bad weather. This day, right now, it's unique weather. Maybe a kind that will never exactly in that form come again. The formation of clouds in the sky will never be the same that is right now. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. A story that you could never fully fathom. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. We all go back so far. And in this present moment, on this day, all the people you meet, all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there is electric light. You turn a faucet and there is warm water and cold water and drinkable water. It's a gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. So these are just a few of an enormous number of gifts to which we can open your heart. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you, that everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you. Just by your eyes, by your smile, by your touch, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
Isn't that good? I want to think about that video just a little bit. As we think of thankfulness, the last part of this verse. First, let me tell you about something I feel a little bit bad about. Sometimes at night, before I go to bed, if I'm watching television or something like that, I like to turn the channel to the religious stations and watch the telepreachers and the long line of people just talking in their gaudy sets and weird hair. And I like watching them, but I like watching them for all the wrong reasons. I get a certain joy out of not liking them and becoming outraged by them. My favorite or least favorite is a guy by the name of Joel Osteen, who seems like a nice guy. I shouldn't be so hard on him. He seems like a pretty positive guy. He's a preacher in Texas. One reason I don't particularly care for him is he's got great hair. But a second reason is he just seems so happy all the time. He's known as the smiling preacher. I have an imitation of him that I won't, well, I'll try it in a minute. He's just like, well, we're just so happy that you're here today. And he just smiles all the time. And he just bugs me. And here's the weird thing is I love to be bothered by him. It brings me a certain joy. But what really bothers me about him is I think he has maybe the last part of this passage wrong. I think that he equates being thankful and overflowing and abounding in thankfulness with a call for Christians to always be happy. I didn't get that sense out of the earlier video of the monk, although he maybe came close to that danger. I think he avoided it because he was talking about something deeper. But with the televangelists, I think that they give this impression that Christians can't have problems. Christians always have to be happy that they're forgiven, and Christians have to lead these really positive lives in which we don't honk at people and don't get frustrated with injustices in the world. And then I get mad at them, especially when I think of what was posted all over Facebook this week, of this child floating in the waves on a beach in Turkey. And I think, how can we be thankful? How do we hold these two things together? It just seems like a gross injustice to be happy when that's going on in the world. I even got a tinge on that when he showed all those beautiful scenes. Sometimes we have corrupted those beautiful scenes. How do we respond in gratitude with this? Remember, Paul, when he is writing this, I think two things to remember. One thing is he is writing this in jail, and so he must not have been happy, and I don't think he had a vision that we had to always be positive. I think that sometimes he had a vision that we should be angry at injustice. But the second thing is he's writing this at the end of chapter 1, and we don't have time to read it right now, but it'd be worth you reading it because it's like a long song. It's a song that goes back and says, listen, Christ was there in creation. Jesus is Lord of this whole world. And then he says this phrase, all things hold together in Jesus. And I think what Paul is getting at is that we have to put our gratitude at a certain deeper level, a deeper level that was captured in this video. And we have to see life as essentially a gift. It is a gift, something that has been given to us out of graciousness and love. Here we start looking at creation, that the love of Christ was involved in creation, that all things hold together with him, that there's a certain beauty to the fact that we exist, that there's a beauty to the other people, even if they're struggling. There's a beauty to the fact that they're here and that they're in our lives, and that we need to celebrate that. And then on this deeper level, I think we find a life of gratitude. And then how do we hold that together with the injustice we see in this world? And I think we do that by saying, listen, look at what we have done with this gift. It is certainly a gift. But as we come out of this deeper level, we realize that we have, through tragedy and through neglect, and, I got to admit, I didn't care about the refugee crisis much. I didn't think of ways I could help. I just kind of thought it was kind of a news item in my peripheral vision. I think we got to think about the neglect we have in our own lives, and we have to kind of and in that sense, I think we hold gratitude together with repentance. We hold gratitude for the world together with anger at injustice. We hold gratitude together with a sense of outrage that governments would kind of force people to leave their countries, and that the countries that receive these victims would not receive them with enough hospitality. We hold it together with all the other emotions of justice and longing that we find in the Christian life. In that sense, I think we see this life as a gift given that has been tragically hurt. And then one last thing. I shouldn't be so hard on Joel Osteen, and I shouldn't be so hard on the televangelists, because I think holding all this together is an enormously difficult thing to do, and that we are always tempted to just try to, I'll be happy, or I'll just be completely mad. And I think that there's a certain goodness and gospel depth to us when we try to hold all things together in Christ, and we try to maintain a sense of a longing for justice with a joy and gratitude. Thank you.
It's all a gift. All this gift. All this gift. In the beginning, a triune God was tripping and flipping and dancing and spilling all over himself. And he said, "Let there be light." Gift, darkness, gift, earth, sky, animals. It was all pure gift. But in all that goodness, there was nothing in the material world that could reciprocate. There was nothing that could respond to God. And then enter a gift better than anything else. Crafted in God's own image, with his own breath. Crowned with glory and honor, enter us. And in that same abundance, he blessed us and he said, "Go explore my world, unwrap the gift of my creation. Bless the world with your own gifts." But then there was that tree. And the funny thing about that tree, it wasn't a gift. And wouldn't you know, we took it anyway. And there was death and confusion, and it's like we forgot what life was all about. Being gift givers. And in taking what God didn't offer, we severed our relationship with him. And all creation suffered. Then there came that day when God gave us another gift. God himself becomes a man. And the gift he offers to the Father is himself. And all of creation is in tow behind him. Once and for all, he restores the way of our purpose. He restores our priesthood. We can once again offer to God our lives, our work, our knowledge, everything. We join our gifts with Christ to offer the world to the Father in love and for the life of the world. And that is the purpose of our salvation. That's what it's for the life